This video could very well be proof that the humanoid kingdom extends into the insect world. At first glance, this video appears to be a firefly or some similar sort of bug, but when slowed down frame by frame, you can clearly see that this is not a bug at all, but rather appears to be a tiny winged humanoid. The video shows an insect-like humanoid with clearly discernible arms and legs. Unlike most bugs, this humanoid only has 4 limbs, and the arms appear to be twice as short as the legs, much like a person. There's simply no insect on Earth like it. It's just too bad the lighting conditions don't provide more detail, because it would have been interesting to see more of its face and overall color patterns. Exactly where this video was shot is not known. A group of ghost hunters called PXTV go deep in the Wombwell Woods, a haunted forest in the UK where many people sadly go to take their lives. They split up to cover maximum ground, and one of them, Steve, finds a spot he deems suitable to begin an EVP session, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. He sets up his EVP box and asks any spirits nearby to make a light go on. When it does, he asks for 2 lights, but gets this verbal warning instead.
Can you make 2 lights light up? Ovulus has just said run.
But something descends upon Steve before he gets a chance to do as told. I didn't exactly see anything, but Steve says that he was pushed out of the way by something nearby. And when he looks at his EVP box, the translator displays the word run written in all capitals. I'm not sure if there's any way to tamper with these devices and make them say pre-programmed messages or not, but assuming this video really is unaltered, then the evidence is all right there to see. A YouTuber named Suspect Sky and his wife are convinced that something is waiting for them. Inside of their small closet, Suspect Sky slowly walks up to the closet and flings the door open, prepared for conflict, only to find nothing inside. They are relieved for just a moment, and then decide to get out of the house anyway. Something is still in there waiting for them. They think they can feel its presence, and just want to leave as fast as they can, and when they looked at the video again later, they found out they were absolutely correct. It's every thrill seeker's worst nightmare. Published by Robbie8984 in January of 2012, this pair was strapped into an amusement park ride in Alton, Illinois, ready for the thrill of their lives when the belt snapped on one of their seats. As the ride takes off, the woman starts to panic when she sees her harness come unstrapped. Luckily, the harness doesn't seem to be necessary as the primary lock keeps her securely in place. Many in the comments say these belts are just fail-safe to give riders a sense of security. Either way, imagine seeing your sense of security come undone in the middle of being tossed through the air by a roller coaster. A YouTuber named Marissa Rachel makes a ghost video update to show what can go wrong when you take your chances with a Ouija board. She thinks her house has been haunted by a ghost for a while, and she sometimes wakes up with strange marks on her body that she can't explain. First, a ghost in her room spells out the word help.
Is this room haunted?
Me neither.
I'm not moving it.
Well, I'm definitely not moving it. I didn't do that either. Oh my, that's really scary. I want to stop playing.
I can't see a string, and this video is a pretty decent resolution, so one should be visible across the darker parts of the board. That still doesn't rule out a magnet under the table though, so maybe that's how this video was made. I know this plastic pointer doesn't have one, but maybe they've taped one underneath. Otherwise, this scary video must be paranormal. Behind, jump in the DeLorean and go back to this 90s home stuck in time. YouTuber Ranger Rick TV visits the abandoned place where a homeowner passed away, leaving everything behind. The calendar is left on the date she passed away.
And we have a calendar date, so this tells me that whoever last passed away in this house was on April 1992. Wow, that is old.
Behind the wall of one room lies a mystery, unsolved.
Makes me really curious about this wall right here. Let me light it up so you can see what I'm seeing. It looks like this was part of, well, this is the wall right here, but why do they have this little cutout right here? something makes me think.
The main bedroom is left in disarray.
And then we walk into this room right here.
But the room where the homeowner passed away has been left untouched, and for good reason.
This is probably my favorite room in the whole house, for obvious reasons. Just because it's like the main room. I already told you the backstory on this place, and yep, this is where the lady passed away.
The poor woman likely passed away alone, and her body wasn't discovered for a long time. Such a sad story, and one I won't be able to forget for a long time coming. Number 11. Everyone wants to feel safe and alone in their own home. What happens when you find out you're not? Posted to YouTube in June of 2019, the YouTuber writes, "Man finds creature in ceiling crawl space that apparently laughs at him." The man in the video explains that he's not a believer in the supernatural. He's a skeptic, but sitting alone on the couch in his home that day, he started hearing a noise coming from the roof or the ceiling. He said he could hear it in the light in his living room, so he decided to investigate. In a closet in his home, there's a small hole, big enough to stick a camera through, but it doesn't look quite large enough for a normal-sized human to squeeze through. When he does get his camera up there, you can see your normal everyday attic crawl space, but over in the corner, in the darkness, are two large orbs, a pair of eyes. He sticks the camera back up there, and the eyes appear for a second again, before blinking closed, as he asks the creature what it is, expecting a response from what looks to be an animal. A child or a toy's doll laughter rings through the darkness. Is Chucky in this man's attic, or does that raccoon simply have a very strange cold?
Squirrel? Raccoon? Oh, we're close to something. Oh my god! That's
One thing's for sure, you don't want to hear that laughter coming from anywhere in your home. This is some serious EMF Gone Wrong. Published by Dark Life in March of 2022, Dennis held an EMF session in the basement of this old house in which girls are said to have gone missing. After spending some time in the basement, he hears something in the wardrobe. As he reaches toward it, the wardrobe starts to rock aggressively. Dennis runs from it, and in doing so appears to hurt his leg amongst all the rubbish in the basement. He looks back for a moment but decides it's best to leave the house. And after seeing this shell of a haunted home, wouldn't you? Shot in Saudi Arabia, this video captured what appeared to be a flying horse during a light storm. Some believe it to be the Al-Buraq, which is a mythological creature of Islamic culture. The Buraq supposedly has wings, which the video's horse does not. But of course, that doesn't prevent the mythical leaning to propose this. The people shooting the video are freaked out over the event, though the silhouette of the horse is a bit creepy and sinister with the lightning and thunder filling the sky around him. It would certainly be a sight to see. Is this a true sighting of a mythical steed, or is the lightning playing tricks on us? What do you think? Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? When your dog sees something you don't, their harrowing sixth sense can send chills down your spine. That's what happened to TikToker Alpha Ocean 22, who writes, "I live alone and just found out about the previous owner." Alpha Ocean's footage begins abruptly with her dog barking into the darkness.
What? What are you barking at? Oh, God.
The dog is on high alert, his body language that of defense. He's seen growling and springing across the bed. Needless to say, the animal's reaction to whatever lies beyond terrifies its owner to no end. In a follow-up video, Alpha Ocean explains exactly what happened in the initial footage.
From Diesel essentially growling at nothing physical. I'm definitely not in a position to say what it was in the video or what is real and what's not. Personally, I've always been real spiritual, so I know what I felt.
She says she was woken up at 1 in the morning from her dog Diesel, growling at nothing physical. She explains that she's in no position to say exactly what it was that Diesel was growling at, though it was the first time the dog has acted this way. She, however, has always been spiritual and felt something in the home. She claims this wasn't the first time something unusual like this has happened to her. She calls the home her wildlife sanctuary, but says she's had some sense for a while that she's not supposed to be there. She discovered from neighbors that the owner of the home was a very closed-off man who lived alone with his mother who passed away. Alpha Ocean states she'll leave the rest up to the viewer's interpretation. So how do you interpret this? Do dogs have a sixth sense? And if so, did Ocean's pet perceive the presence of the homeowner's dearly departed? Or was this dog sensing something else? I guess we'll never know for sure. This video was taken in 2001 by the Mills family while hiking Marble Mountain in Maine. Their leader, Jim Mills, zooms in on what could be a humanoid watching them across a pond.
At us?
I don't see it.
Moving now.
Trees. It's to the right of him. There's walking that way. Trees. Okay. See the King's Castle? He's kind of little.
As it approaches the group, we get a better glimpse at its strange shape. Even from this distance, its shoulders look broad, and it has a powerful lower body with arms that come down to its knees.
It does not look like a person. Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
At 6 minutes and 9 seconds, the creature seems to point at them and wave its fist. My theory is that, assuming this is real, the creature is guarding its only water source and telling them to come no closer. You may think that this creature looks somewhat small from this distance, but considering the fact that his camera is zoomed all the way in, it's actually giant, but it could also simply be CGI. This window washer is apparently unconcerned with keeping his life, let alone his job. The brazen worker sees nothing wrong with standing on a ledge that's so narrow. He has to spread his feet outwards just to keep any semblance of traction. And of course, the only way to wash the window in this position is to fully shut it. Notice how there's no safety harness or any other equipment for that matter. If he loses his balance now, the only way to fall is straight down. Meanwhile, he has to rely on a spotter to open the window from the inside to let him back in. And when it's finally time to open the window, he has to wedge his arms in the frame and hold one of the most awkward positions I've ever seen. The cameraman, who is panicking for him, pans down to the ground to show that this video is not a joke. This is a drop he absolutely would not survive. Predator combat drone is conducting a routine patrol when suddenly something huge and fast enters its airspace. What appears to be some kind of unidentified flying object streaks by the drone. In a gigantic burst of white light, the drone turns around to scan the area, but whatever zoomed past is now long gone. Unfortunately, no further footage was recovered. I don't know if the lack of information surrounding this video is a sign that it's fake, or it means the military simply isn't saying anything. The unidentified flying object could be CGI, but outside of that possibility, what you are watching could very well be our first contact with very technologically advanced extraterrestrials. During a thunderstorm over Barcelona, an unidentified flying object popped in for a visit. Shared by Redditor Little Space Moshi, this large unidentified flying object left its blinkers on. The unidentified flying object appears unmoved by the lightning. The large saucer just hovers there, leaving many concerned, but don't be alarmed. While it may be fake, I think that a CGI artist should earn an Oscar for this one. Renato Garcia claims to have had a paranormal encounter while exploring the house of a witch in Brazil. He finds all these empty bottles carefully arranged in a circle in the middle of the room, possibly for a spell, and then the far door opens all by itself. That's when some really bizarre things are caught on camera, things that are weird but possibly not real.
Victim!
So the door slams shut by itself, which is creepy, but then he says that the bottles fall over by themselves. However, when you play this part in slow motion, you can clearly see his foot kicking them at 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's hard to see because it's dark, but when you look in slow motion, you can definitely see his shoe. With over 4 million views and nearly 80,000 likes at the time of this video, I just had to give my honest analysis and say I have my doubts about this one. If he really is faking this part, then I have trouble believing the rest of this abandoned house exploration is real. Is this the trail of a ghost? Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Jen the Hab explains, my dad took a video of a helium balloon floating around the house to scare my kids, but captured something else. The video shows the helium balloon in question drifting in the corner of the room. As it floats there, suddenly a white, unidentifiable object flies forward and another swings past. According to Jen the Heb, her father didn't see the wisp until he watched the video back. Redditor Mr. Blistered Lips writes, if not paranormal, I'd suggest a flash from reflected sunlight off of a car outside hitting the lens, but the Redditor counters that, according to her, the back deck looks over a conservation area where no cars pass. While some viewers still insist it's a reflection, others think something is definitely moving in front of the camera. But is it paranormal? What is your wild guess? Personally, I'm going with the first option. A person with an interest in graveyards is casually filming when they accidentally pick up a bizarre and possibly dangerous watcher. You can see a blurry shadow as it takes a few steps out from the other side of a wall, but the person recording doesn't seem to notice. It wasn't until much later that they reviewed the video and found the hidden lurker in the distance. I personally think that this could be CGI because the resolution of the video seems to have been lowered, which is always a sign of amateur effects. Then again, the person recording may have been using a cheap camera. Or maybe this is an older video. This convincingly real ghost sighting was caught on a Ring doorbell camera, tilted at an interesting perspective that shows us more than most other scary doorbell cam videos ever do. The mysterious figure appears from nothingness, which is scary enough, but what makes one of the creepiest things ever caught in the history of doorbell cameras is how the apparition continues to walk down the street for 37 seconds before disappearing again. Feel free to prove me wrong, but this could actually be a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Freaky, right? This is the last thing you would want to see in the middle of the road at night. Published to YouTube by Christian Garcia in October of 2017. This clip is titled Witch on the Road. The footage shows a motorcyclist driving on dirt roads in the middle of the night. After a time, he comes across a person sitting on the side of the road in the darkness. The person is wearing blue pants, a white shirt, and has gray hair. She doesn't look up, even with the headlights of the motorcycle spotlighting her. The cyclist takes off, but then decides to turn around again. They approach the witch, say hello, and ask what her name is. When they receive no real response,
Hola, señora.
They drive off into the night, leaving this person, or witch as they say, in the darkness on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. What would you do in just such a situation? YouTuber Mario Batanker2 writes in the comments, ghost or non-ghost, it's always a little disquieting if not disturbing, being in a place so far dark and alone. I think this video generates more sensations than many super elaborate videos that come up in such situations. What sensations do you feel? I feel terrified. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.